the axles. Yeah, I think. There's a couple of other pieces that could be, just fittings. But when you look at even the railing on the top, none of that's original. It's been welded with an arc welder, and it's round bar and flat bar put together, which you just don't see. On a proper coach, you'll see the round bar transforming into flat by hammering it or upsetting it or whatever. But it's 50 odd years old. It's not. That's a little bit of history. And the other thing too is it probably does give us permission to do some serious woodwork on it. Like the rotted parts, I'm going to have to pull apart some panels to get to the rotted areas to replace them. And if it's not a genuine museum piece, well, it sort of gives us a bit of leeway in that respect.
So, we've established that the coach was a replica, and we've uncovered the Toowoomba connection through former Toowoomba coach builder Cole Ferguson and a gentleman he had working for him for many years, Jeff Ernst. And for a while, even after the demise of Cobb and Co, there was still a market for horse-drawn coaches, a market that Cole Ferguson happily catered to.
I think he made them on spec, from what I could tell, but he made them with the intention of selling them for people to go for joyrides. From what I can tell, they weren't as heavily built as a real Cobb and Co coach because that's enormously expensive to get that kind of integrity and structure involved. Yeah, I mean he probably, because he's the last man standing, probably had a lot of wrecks to work with. So then there's the connection with him was Haraway too. Haraway is the wooden horse that we have in our collection that Bill Bolton bought. After it had left Cole Ferguson's place, it was bought by the Hunter brothers in Brisbane, Breakfast Creek, and they must have been wheelers and dealers. And they also were the family that ran the Dunnicart collection of Brisbane.
Wow.
So Bill Bolton bought a Dunnicart off them, an ex-Brisbane one. He also bought Haraway off them after they must have made a bid on a bit of stuff that Cole Ferguson got rid of. It sat in front of his workshop in Little Russell Street. I don't know for how long, but it obviously was made, I think, for probably a saddlery, to advertise their merchandise. It's beautifully made, hand carved, very, very heavy. Anyway, it was a part of Toowoomba's history, and then it disappeared, but was found and brought back. Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was like a landmark. The horse, Haraway, was in the doorway of the coach building. And as a kid, I had no interest in horses and carriages. Well, horses I did, but not carriages as such. Well, if we were going to meet our friends, we might say, meet you at the horse. And even at night time when it was closed down, it'd say, meet you at the horse. Everybody knew where to go. Right. So Ferguson's coach building works was a landmark in Toowoomba for us. We knew it's Little Russell Street, that's where we meet, outside that factory, All that street in them days was full of old shops. James Rogers and Sons Saddlery were there. There was a heap of, and they were quite old, I guess dilapidated or run-down type buildings. Not because they weren't taken care of, they were just from the 1800s.
Soon after the mystery coach was delivered to Cobb and Co Museum, Andrew uncovered a vital clue as to the origins of this vehicle.
Yes. It says, restored by Carter's horse-drawn vehicles, Mulaney. Doesn't say when. Jeff Powell always said, be very careful of the plaques on vehicles because they're a bit like car dealers and people servicing cars now. They'll pull the old sticker off and put their own one on there. So if you find a brass plaque on a horse-drawn vehicle, doesn't mean they built it. They might have just repaired it and put theirs on. But anyway, this little brass plaque says restored by. So instantly you think, all right, that's an older vehicle. It's seen better days. So whoever owned it then got Harvey Carter, I've since found out, to repair it. So I put a call out through social media with a group called Australian Horse-Drawn Vehicle Restorations. And I said, does anyone know of any work by Harvey Carter and particularly Cobb and Co coaches? What can you tell me? Anyway, so it got a fairly heated discussion at times about him. Apparently he was a bit of a colourful character and was he was the money man. He wasn't the guy that built it. He had other people working for him, including Jeff Ernst. Anyway, one respondent to my inquiry said he was renowned for putting brass plaques on everything that he made that said restored by. So they're like a red herring, really, like a little false thing to shove it on, which gives it instant provenance, as in the way of it's got a previous history. No, it hasn't.